Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is August 11th, 2017. Yeah, we've been a little bit away, haven't we? Yeah. It's definitely been a situation of not enough hours in the day as the weeks have gone by here lately. I was going to say, well, everything will calm down when school starts, but that's another fiasco entirely that we're still working on in terms of scheduling, because they put my pre-K kid in afternoon kindergarten, and you guys know I work nights, and this isn't going to work very well. So we'll see what happens with that. We still got 2 weeks to try to figure that out or resolve it or whatever. It's a good place to start to sort of park the hanging out and not doing these videos, because Japan is on vacation for the next week. They will not be back in their various offices until I believe Thursday morning of next week. So it's been got a few days to kill, or nothing will be going on. We put out this nice big chunky video here, covering kit releases and things like that, as well as some kit announcements. And won't have to worry about doing a show this Friday, more than likely. If there is a show on Friday, whatever that would be, the 17th, I guess, or the 16th, it will be because when they got back from vacation, yes, Japan does take pretty much a nationwide August break. It'll be because they will have announced finally the kits that we shall expect for the fourth quarter of 2017 for the Tokyo Hobby and Model Show that will be going on at the very end of September. As it stands right now, there are no October releases whatsoever for Aoshima. They have not released even a spot run listing, let alone what they're actually going to be doing for the fourth quarter themselves. So that information needs to come out, because in order to get people's systems programmed correctly to do pre-orders, they need to put that information out. I suspect that information probably exists behind the scenes, so that the people just flip a switch the day the pre-orders are announced. But still, so that being said, if we're here Friday, it will be because of that, because it will still be a little too early for the August domestic kits to be showing up. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and just sort of plow right on into what's going on here. On the spot runs and recent announcements from overseas. For the month of September, Aoshima has announced these following spot runs. Again, these are not new kits, they're just restocks. They are the 2015 Toyota Crown Athlete. That is the recently, modified reissue that just came out about 3-4 months ago. Reissue of the Lamborghini Countach LP400. That is the original, Countach, as it were. Reissue of the Aventador Roadster, and a reissue of the Initial D Nissan Skyline R32 Combat. You may recall from last fall, that was one of the two kits that Aoshima had modified to represent a certain scene out of the Initial D series, where the R32 and the RX-7 race each other down the mountain, as it were. So they're going to reissue the Nissan part. I guess the RX-7 doesn't need a reissue as of yet. Over at Fujimi, for the month of October, they're going to be reissuing their 1994 Mitsubishi FTO, which is sort of like the little brother of the GTO 2000 GT. That's going to be a GS or a GPX, so this will be two different, very minorly different kits combined into one, as they like to do. And they're also going to be reissuing the 1995 Honda Odyssey L and S Type, again, two slightly different model kits. That'll be merged into one kit again. Hasegawa for the month of October will be reissuing their 1993 Subaru Legacy RS Rally of New Zealand. This will be the championship car of that race, for the winning car of that race for Colin McRae. Represents the first race he won in his career. They're going to be reissuing the Jaguar XJ9 prototype IMSA car. They're going to be reissuing the Porsche 962 with a Nisiki Trust livery for the 1991 Le Mans, 24 Hours of Le Mans, so once again, another 962. And they're going to be reissuing their Porsche 968 kit with its Club Sport variant. This gives it race seats, takes the back seat of the interior, and a few other things that were, real life in the real Club Sport, which was a trim level of the Porsche 968 towards the end of its existence. The Porsche 968, like its 944 cousin, is a full detail kit. So something to look forward to. I don't think that Club Sport kit has been reissued maybe ever since its original run, or if it has, it hasn't been reissued in about 14 years, which tends to be, the excuse me, tends to be about how far out a lot of these older Hasegawa reissues go. Club Sport was never a really particularly expensive kit. It's molded in banana yellow, which may be a thing because some people don't like colored plastic, but be that as it may, excuse me, guys, I don't know where this sudden cough is. I haven't had it all day. But be that as it may, they're reissuing it. Now, one of the things, if you're very, very, very into either trolling the internet for information or you just belong to a certain modeling forum, you know that actually about 3 weeks ago, Tower Hobbies had leaked. I mean, they're owned by Hobbico, which owns Revell, so it's not a leak. They just listed the fourth quarter of Revell's kits for the rest of the year. There was no flyer for that, no flyer for that, no flyer for that. And then here this past week and was a model show up in the Chicago area. So we're going to flagrantly steal Gary Paquette's photograph from Model Cars Magazine, which is sort of making its way around Facebook and everywhere now to the point where I don't think anybody's even giving Gary credit for taking it. So at least I'm giving you credit for it. And that is the flyer for the fourth quarter, which hasn't been actually released in a format of online by Revell. So let's take a look at it here. These are fourth quarters for 2017. So you got a build and play Scooby-Doo biplane up there. I'm not sure exactly what the story is on that as far as what the sourcing is, if that's an all-new tooling or not. It is 1/20th scale, so at least to be the same scale as the van. This appears to Jinkies finally have your Velma figure, and I believe Scooby-Doo is in this as well, so you'll have 2 Scooby-Doos by the time it's over with. So, I mean, if your kids are into that Scooby-Doo thing, if you bought them the van, now you can get them an airplane as well. Next thing over there is one of the SSP reissues, which of course is the selected reissue program where they will be running off, say, about 3,500 of these, and that'll be it. And that is Dave Deal's Baja Humbug, no scale, little weird, blown, injected, who knows what's all going on there, little Volkswagen Beetle. Coming down on the skill level 4 stuff, you see a reissue of the ZZ Top Eliminator. Yawn. Somebody recently said they wanted to buy a case of these kits. I don't necessarily understand why. It's pretty much dated, car now. We're talking about being the late 1980s when Legs and Give Me All Your Lovin' came out. I would have preferred to see them do, and I was corrected in my assumption that the Eliminator had been changed into the Whiskey Runner. I would like to see them do the Whiskey Runner or one another of Gibbons' car, or somebody else's or some other car he owns rather than this reissue. Makes sense, reissue it. It's printing money, but still, I don't see the need for it. I get a reissue of the 53 Bel Air 3-in-1. This is the old monogram kit. The 3-in-1 being, it used to be a 2-in-1. The 3-in-1 was added when they put the lowrider option in it in the 1990s. You see a reissue of they're calling it a 1980 Jeep Honcho. So this kit hasn't been out since, Pink Poison kit back in the day. They're throwing in what appears to be the snowmobile and a snowmobile accessories out of the original Ice Patrol, which was a 78 Chevy stuff-side pickup truck. So, I don't know if this is sort of Revell's sort of accessory take on the 68 El Camino that Round 2 put out recently, where they were reissuing, the 68 El Camino kit from the 1990s with that original 5-piece little, oh crap, I can't think of the, I'm saying Salt Racer in my mind. That's not what it is. For some reason, Bonneville is just stuck at Bonneville. Say Bonneville. No, Bonneville's not right because it's that thing in Canton, the Ohio, with the cars, with the, oh, well, it'll come to me. You guys know what I'm talking about. Soapbox Derby. There we go. See, I know if I just sighed loud enough. We came with that little Soapbox Derby, little 5-piece plastic toy, basically, that was in the original 1967 annual kit that the 68 is inspired by. So it might be the same sort of thing. We're taking a parts runner out of an old kit. I don't, as far as I know, that kit, the step-side pickup truck still exists, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's what's been modified into the hot rod kit, and then they can't get it back. But at any rate, apparently this 1980s snowmobile still is around, and they're sticking it with the Jeep Honcho. This is one of the kits off this list I'm interested in, mainly because I refuse to pay the money that the Pink Poison kits are generating. It's it's a simple kit, but still, it's the only Jeep Honcho pickup truck kit there is. Over there on the right, the 78 GMC pickup truck, a lot of people, myself included, were wondering what in the world this was all about, mainly due to the fact that it was listed as 125th scale, and the 125th scale 78 GMC, of course, is the current kit that has the plow that they put in a few years back. I was saying, well, if it's going to be 125th scale, maybe they're going to do the Chevy stepside pickup truck with the GMC grill added into it, because they tooled that new GMC grill into that plow truck, because prior to that, as a GMC, it just had no logos. Well, turns out, no, guys, this is the old High Roller, 124 scale. So this is the old Monogram High Roller kit. If you really sit the High Roller box art and this box art beside each other, you'll notice the fact that they are the exact same kit. Off-road lights and CB antenna included. Just they've put a camo paint scheme on the box art for this new reissue. So I know a lot of people have been longing for the High Roller series to come back out. I don't know if this is foretelling a reissue of the High Roller series as a whole. Obviously, they reissued the Ram Charger. If the parts exist to make the chassis, the tires and the stuff like that, maybe that'll come back out again. Since obviously the Ram Charger kit itself is in one piece from its recent reissue, the spring. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this. But a lot of people have been wanting High Roller, so here you go. Allow the complaining that it is the quote-unquote wrong scale to begin. Down on the skill level 5 stuff, you see a reissue of the 69 Dodge Charger Daytona with the Pro Modeler logo beside it. It'll be interesting to see if it's actually marketed with that, because the Pro Modeler guys, that was a fart in the wind, basically, that Revell did in the early 1990s, where there was a couple of cars, a couple of planes, and that was the end of that, because nobody wanted to pay the extra $5 or $6 for the photo etch and stuff that was included in it. So this will be a reissue of that. I would expect possibly the photo etch will be back, hence the Pro Modeler name. You see the modified reissue, and we told you guys this kit was coming back when the original new G-body tool was reissued. This is the 85442 F3X or FE3X show car. So you get the various little modifications, the fake hood scoop and the ground effects and the show car specific wheels and things like that put into the new tool kit from last year. What is basically the new tool on this sheet is the Chase Elliott Napa Auto Parts Chevy SS NASCAR kit. This, like the Ford Fusion kits that we're going to be getting, or actually we already got and will be getting, because the Danica Patrick one is set to come out in a few months. This will be the next of the full detail glue kits that Revell has committed to making. Irony, when Revell signed the contract, of course the Chevy SS was what the car was going to be. But if you follow NASCAR at all, and even I just saw it through my Facebook feed, Chevy is going to be using the ZL1 Camaro in the top tier NASCAR Monster Energy Series, whatever they want to call it these days, for 2018. So this kit has by the time it comes out, will be probably right at the end, if not past the end of the NASCAR season, and will effectively be a too old body style when it comes out. Wah, wah, wah. That's the story of Revell, basically. Next, you see a modified reissue of the Bronco kit. This one just being listed as the quote-unquote Baja Bronco, which, of course, is a sort of a tribute, if not a complete actual Bill Strope Baja Bronco. Be interesting to see what is done with this, besides the fact that they painted it to look like a Bill Strope. It doesn't seem to have Bill Strope's name attached to it. The junkyard up in Michigan, the Bronco graveyard, or whatever it was called, that did all of the background work for Revell to measure the parts and everything, they have a real Bill Strope Baja Bronco, so I would assume that's where the reference for this comes from. Looks like it's got different wheels and tires, or perhaps at least different wheels. And we'll be interested to see what other parts are in there. The legitimate thing has like skid plates and a couple of the different little pieces and parts that are different, but that explains now why the kit in its factory stock, air quotes you can't see, version has the MSD ignition and the glass pack dual exhaust and things like that. And then last but not least, a kit that I know a lot of people have been just demanding to have back, along with a sibling kit that'll be coming out beginning of next year, is the reissue of the fixed tooling, as it were, 29 Ford Model A Roadster. You may notice here, though, that the Roadster has been tweaked somewhat for this reissue, and that is going to include having the blown small block Chevy, and the Halliburton style wheels out of the 30 coupe. Don't panic. Doesn't mean the 30 coupe is not coming back. It will be out probably in the first quarter of next year. And it'll probably have the nail head and the steelies in it from the 29. Saw somebody recently say that the only reason to buy the Roadster was because of the nail head, and they threw a fit, including fake cursing online, which is, using words like effing and things like that. It's like, okay, I sort of kind of get where you're coming from there to a certain extent, but at the same time, those kits are meant to be interchangeable. The wheels and the engine specifically are meant to interchange because the frames are the same. You may recall the big controversy that when the 29 Ford came out, that the instructions were written up wrong, and if you tried to build, I think it was the lowboy version, it told you to use the chassis pan from the coupe that you didn't even need because both 29s ride the same chassis pan. Obviously, these kits are designed to interchange. If you want a nailhead bad enough, either go find one of the original 29s. They're still floating around out there. They're not that hard to find. The Roadsters didn't sell nearly as well as the 30 Ford coupes did, plus the fact that the 30 Ford coupes only had that sort of initial run before the tooling got damaged, so they were, of course, rare and hard to find, so everybody snapped all of them up. But, when the 30 Ford coupe comes back out in, a few months, then get both and swap the parts back. I don't know what else to tell you. Do you want the kits back or not? Take what you want in one hand, what you get in the other, and I think what you're getting is probably better than nothing at all. The other thing that's not on this list, but has been sort of background announced, and the fact that we saw this with the Ford Fusion, so it's no big surprise, is sometime probably in the first quarter, which again, this will be more amusing because the driver will have been retired and the car will have changed, is they're going to be doing a Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy SS as well, probably again in the first quarter. Pictures of the box art build have been floating around out there. So, yeah, in February, March of 2018, the NASCAR season will have started already. There will be a completely different car, and of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will have retired and not be in the series anymore. So, it'll still sell like crazy because of Earnhardt name. Never lived up to his dad's success, but he's certainly been a very, very popular driver. Seems like a nice enough guy. So I have nothing against Dale Earnhardt Jr., but be that as it may, if you're interested, that will be coming as well. One kit we do know about, by the way, from the fourth quarter from Japan. This kit was teased for a couple of weeks. Somebody had found a item out of a British trade magazine saying it was coming, and then Tamiya USA released the box art for it, and this will allegedly be coming out on October 20th. So right now there are no pre-orders available for it in Japan. I think that's mainly because, again, they have not gotten to the whole point of being ready to clump it. Hobbylink Japan at least clumps everything together into one big, we're doing the Tokyo Hobby Show extravaganza listings, and they haven't got that far. But this is a very cool kit to me. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I don't know, but I can't hide it. No. And that is this Mercedes AMG GT3 car. I would have liked to have seen a livery that's not just the presentation livery, but I will not care because there will be many, many decals for this. Already been in talks with Frankie over at SK. Diego, who runs Racing Decals 43, had a health issue this spring. I don't think I'm going out of bounds talking about it. I'm not going to say anything else, but he posted it on Facebook, so it's public knowledge. But he's going to be bringing his decal company back up. There's probably, 4 or 5 sets of decals that were planned but never released from 2 years ago that he will be running those off first, and then, it'll be time to settle in for the AMG GT3 kit as well as the BMW M6 whenever that comes out. Right now, it seems the M6 is kind of tied up in licensing with BMW, which is not a surprise. That's what happened to the M3. It got tied up in licensing for a while. September is now the release date for the M3. We'll see. Or the M6, rather. I'm sorry. And HobbyLink Japan and Hobby Search have gotten the listings for the photo etch carbon fiber detail set we showed you last month for the M6. So it indicates to me that the kits still are coming. They're not canceled yet. They wouldn't be listing those things if they were. But yeah, very excited to see the AMG GT. Mainly because if you know your Tamiya race car history, Tamiya has never done just one car out of a race series. You think back to the 1990s DTM series, you had the Alfa Romeo, you had the C-Class Mercedes, you had the Opel Calibra, eventually the Opel Astra, the CLK Mercedes, and the or something else in there I'm forgetting. And then, the Super GT kits were the NSX, the Lexus LS, or the Lexus SC, and the 2008 GTR, the JGTC kits were the NSX, the other R33 and R32 GTRs, the Tom Supra, and whenever they do race cars, they tend to do more than one. So here's hoping that we can maybe see, because they're the only ones with the Ferrari licensing other than Fujimi right now, a 488 GT3 car. I'd love to see an Audi R8 GT3 car. I know Studio 27 does a resin trans kit, but there's not a lot of decal support. Well, actually, there's no decal support for that car because the kit costs like $150, and Studio 27 will be the ones doing the decals for them. You can buy one of their preset cars, but that's about it. And if there was a way to convince either Aoshima or Tamiya has some Lamborghini licensing, because they still every now and then reissue or have in the catalog those old Countachs from back in the 80s, the Huracan GT3. If you had an M6, the AMG, the 488, the Huracan, and the R8, you would pretty much have every single GT car available at one time that runs currently in the series. The M6 is getting a sort of an Evo body package for 2018, but that M6 is going to keep going. They're going to release an M8 to be their GTE class car, but the M6 will continue to be their customer support car for GT3 series. You have the Asia GT series, which has become very popular very quickly, and it is being renewed for the next season as far as Blancpain goes. So I think that also contributes to the fact of Japan making a GT3 kit, Tamiya, not Fujimi. Whatever happened to Fujimi's project, nobody knows. Maybe they sold it to Tamiya, because they had the 3D renders done. Fujimi stopped sponsoring the Good Smile Racing team this year, so it became more and more obvious as time went on that they weren't going to do this kit, but it's great to see it out. There's already 8 sets of decals for this car from Decal Doc TaylorMade over in Germany, who does, it's like an Alps printing, so they're not like the best decals. They're not, silk screen printed like a lot of other things are, but they are serviceable for sure. Of 2016 and 2017 24 Hours of Nürburgring cars. So those exist if you really want to hit the ground running with these and you don't want to wait. But yeah, very, very excited. I can go on for an hour about how excited I am about this car, but we'll leave it there and plow on. Speaking of kits that will be coming out, we got these photos from BMAX this week as well. These are the first complete, as complete as they can be. The headlights don't appear to be in this yet, and the glass is foggy because the glass is the glass, quote unquote, is one of the last things gets polished out when you're doing a model kit. And these are the test shots for the Volvo 240 Group A car. This looks like it's chugging along just fine. Again, we'll have lots of. I think we'll see a fair amount of decal support for this car. There's Gia Racing Macau stuff off the bat, and then this car was also in several touring series, so should be a interesting time with the Jaguar XJS European touring car race car version of Hasegawa's kit getting reissued here this week. I'm happy as a pig in slop about this stuff. So there's that. Let me see here as I look through the pending information here. I think that's it. I guess one thing we'll mention while we're doing this video, since it is August, is the decals for August from Studio 27 will be a carbon fiber detail set for the Tamiya Evo 6. It appears to be, you could go for the street car or the rally car. Those two kits are pretty similar anyway. The roll caging pretty much being the only real difference between the two, and various little race prep stuff. And then we got 2 decal sheets already. Well, 1 decal sheet already. The Tabu Design Macau, Gia Racing Macau, JPS, the Johnny Player Specials, black car, gold decals. So that set of decals is already out. And then these 2 were announced for the middle of August, and they are the 1982, I believe this is the Canon Citizen Trophy Cup. It's a European Touring Car Championship race at Silverstone. And then this, which is the 1983 Grand Prix of Brno, which is in the what would be the former Czech Republic, or I guess it's still the current Czech Republic, would have been Czechoslovakia back in the day. So there's 2 modal liveried cars. So yeah, you're not going to be stuck with just like what exists with the Jaguar. Be interested to see if there's going to be more Jaguar support. There's a few other races that the car did, other than like in the Intertech stuff that the auto color decals cover. So yeah, if you want to build some touring Jaguars, which is the reason why this becomes interesting, is of course that the touring Jaguar existed at the same time that the touring Volvo did, the same years. Yeah, you're gonna be able to do some early 1980s touring cars for a change, which is a little bit different than what we've been seeing recently. And I guess that takes us over to some releases from the aftermarket. You know, guys, we only cover a few aftermarket companies here, the stuff that we're, confident enough to be, listing to you guys. And this is from Plamos this month. First up is this set of wheels for the AMT 1967 Ford Mustang GT500. Some different wheel covers for that kit. These are a limited edition, online only. They didn't make a whole lot of talk about this, but they do exist. They are limited runs, so if you want one, I would suggest going and get them. Our 20-inch RT-style wheels for the Lindbergh Dodge Dakota Snap-Tight kit. So a little bit of a different twist on that kit if you want to build it. Hey, they were $8 at Lindbergh, or $8 at Ollie's. I know a whole bunch of you guys have them just sitting around there, so there's an option for something to do there. And these are $5.95 Turismo wheels. They are for the Fujimi Fiat 500, the modern day Fiat 500. So there's that option out there. And then the other release we got, and this is the one that we were really, really waiting on, very excited. Have one en route. It's lost in the postal system somewhere, but it'll be here eventually, I would assume. And that is the great big Mamma Jamma Trans kit to take the 2010 Revell Camaro SS and turn it into the 2014 Z28. Guys may recall, this is the kit I threatened to build for the Atlanta NNL. We'll see if we're going to go or not still. My wife has some things coming up here through the fall, which may not give us all free time, and I don't know if I can technically disappear myself for a weekend. We'll see. I'm still going to try to, when this shows up, we're still going to start working on it. Try to get it done in time anyway, because we have some fall shows coming up as well here locally. And here you see the parts layout, showing you what you get here. You get 3 sets of photo etch. Basically, the 2 of them are brake parts, so there's 2 sheets of that. So you can make 2 front and 2 rear brakes, and then you have the big fret that has the radiators, the intercoolers, the grills, the parts for the new radiator, like fan clutch and all that stuff, and the sill plate and stuff like that. They're including, once again, the photo etch seatbelts, which I don't know. That's neither here nor there to me. I really couldn't care less if they did it or not. You get another photo etch, the little smaller photo etch things that look like little, I don't know what, chevrons. Those are the actual brake pads for the brakes. Yes, there are brake pads with these brakes. Then you get some decals and some metal transfers for the scripts and the mirrors, and then there's also resin seatbelt buckets. Over on the parts list side of things, you see get a feel for what all you're going to be changing out here. You do have to cut the trunk out of the 2011 kit and put a new trunk in, new front fascia, new rear fascia, new hood, new side skirts. You got your fender flares. You can call them over fenders almost, but fender flares. You've got your front grille, you got your seats, you got your headlight buckets, taillight buckets. The things that look like potato graters are your hood inserts for the hood, and then you have your intake and options and the engine change options to change the engine over to the Z28 version of the LS. The resin base for the brakes, your exhaust system, the brake calipers themselves, the new radiator, outside of the radiator fans. New steering wheel, new stick shift, the clear parts, your wheels, and your tires. Here's your photo etch stuff in real life. You see here, it's silver, pretty much what you'd expect. And here are the parts layout of all of the resin parts. Now, they did do their Mazda club spec and the GT500, as well as the RF roof conversion, were done in ABS plastic. This is all done in resin, mainly because there's just so much of it, and ABS plastic would have been cost prohibitive compared to doing the resin casting. So know that going in, there's no plastic injection molding here. This is all resin, which is not a big deal. I mean, I couldn't care less one way or the other. But, know what you're working with as far as materials go, so you know what glue to use to get everything together, which is pretty much the same glue you'd use for the ABS stuff anyway, unless you're gluing ABS to ABS. ABS glue really isn't going to help you in that situation. And I think that pretty much covers all of the like teases and pending and release stuff here. So let's look at the kits that have come out for the month of July. Technically speaking, there'll be a couple August things in here, but this is mostly July. The F350 upgrade set, the great big resin roll bar stuff and stuff from Meng, that's out. We're mentioning it here in passing because there's no real good pictures of it online yet. But you can get that from Hobby Easy right now. It's still not in any of the Japanese retailers, but again, the Japanese retailers are going to charge you twice as much, so Hobby Easy, the way to go if you did want that, that option. So starting on the domestic side of things, over at round 2, we have the Dawn the Snake Prud'homme Hot Wheels sponsored Wedge Dragster. You guys recall, of course, when the Wedge Dragster was released initially here, recently, reissued, they had all of like the chassis parts and everything like that, but they had no body tooling. So they created a new 5-piece body to reissue the Wedge Dragster. Well, this, guys, has a whole new 5-piece body to better accurately represent the Hot Wheels Wedge Dragster. So this is about as close, this kit and the original reissue, if you will, are the closest things we've gotten to round 2, modifying a tool. This really the modifying a tool in the sense it's a whole new body specific to this car. Also has a new intake scoop to make that a little more accurate. So vintage drag fans rejoice, you have another option out there. Also got a reissue of the Coca-Cola sponsored Ford Louisville short hauler. This is almost exactly a reissue of a kit from the 1990s. You guys may recall the short hauler had Coca-Cola tie-in back in the day. Round 2 is milking every penny out of that Coca-Cola licensing investment. But beyond that, other than the new decals, because these are not the same decals that were in the 1990s kit, it's the same short hauler that's been around since the 1970s. Reissue of the 1993 Nissan Hardbody 4x4 pickup truck. Again, guys, you may recall, this is a 1/20th scale Lindbergh kit. And, of course, as we talked about before, the Lindbergh stuff from the 1990s Craft House era is being reboxed as AMT kits to sort of differentiate it away from the awful, awful, yucky dreck of the 1960s Lindbergh stuff. And then last but not least, and this was the last kit to come out, and it finally showed up here towards the very end of the month, and that is the 1939 Wagon Rod, the custom little Ford wagon here. Yeah, what can you say about this thing? It's got the most ugly nose of any hot rod, street rod thing out there. I did find out through doing some research about this kit that it really does represent a real car. It's not just a caricature of something that really does represent a real car. It's got an LT5 Chevy engine in it and other stuff. I still think it's very amusing that Round 2 advertises this as being quote-unquote great parts for kit bashing, and knowing that nobody builds this thing the way it is. But that kit is back out, and it has been about 8-9 years since it was reissued last. A lot of people go, oh, what's that coming back out for? Well, guys, know your reissues. It's every 7 to 9 years. Stuff's going to get reissued whether you like it or not, because the stuff isn't for you. The 1%ers out there who have 500,000 model kits, it's for putting it back in front of consumers at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and Tower, and all the other retailers. So there's the Round 2 stuff. Over at Revell, we have a few kits come out this month, and they are the Kevin Harvick Ford Fusion. So the first of the full detail NASCAR kit is out. This kit was lamented online for having some really weird-looking tires. The guy who built the box art kits was saying that the tires really aren't any worse than any of the other ones. They're actually the same tires that were in the Snap-Tite kit, which nobody ever complained about. It is just the way the box art kit was displayed with a damaged front suspension that made the wheels stick out too far. So a little modification here and there to get the wheels tucked in a little bit, and they look a great deal better because they're not so obviously prominent. So that kit's out there for any of the NASCAR fans right now, from what I saw, because good friend Jonathan over there at Feedens Garage bought a case of these, and they literally shipped them in a just a straight up Revell case, shipped them straight from a hobby shop down in Georgia. He got case, I don't know, 700 of 800 and something. So there are 10,008 of these kits run off in this run. So, yeah, go buy one because there's a lot of them going to be out there. I know that, of course, the NASCAR guys, they'll build dozens of them. So it's not a big surprise that they ran off a big chunk, but that's basically double the normal Revell, kit run for even a new tool kit. Out of the new tool, the other new toolkit this month, of course, is the Foose Custom Cadillac Eldorado, the Foose Eldorado, as it is known. The one thing to watch out for here, guys, if you're buying this in person and you can, take this kit apart, as it were, at the counter, is that it seems that there were two different people packing this kit. One person packed the windshield frame towards the outside of the box, which sounds like it would be damaging, but actually isn't, because all of the stuff that's in the kit is shoved into the bottom of the body, and any flex on the box is just shoving the parts into the bottom of the body. And the other one packed it with the windshield pillar facing the kit contents, and those are all pretty much smashed and destroyed and just mutilated beyond all words and specifications. Ire and outrage across Revell land from all of the people. I don't know why anyone expects Revell to not damage their kits. They have the quality control of a bad sewer system. The solution to this, of course, would have been, creating a in-place dunnage system, if you will, the way all of the Aoshima Lamborghinis are, where they look like some sort of weird death race vehicles with all their spindly parts that hold the roof and the window openings up. They didn't do that. They just ran off the body and chucked them in there. Even the ones that don't look like they're damaged, when you go to mount the roof to them, yeah, they're wrecked. And so it is very, very interesting to see what Revell is going to do about this. They are going to have an S-pile, if you will, of claims against them. They're right now saying it's going to be a month and a half before replacement bodies can be sent out, because they're going to have to run off a whole bunch of bodies over in China and get the tool, wedged back into production, which is, of course, going to shove something out the other side as far as what was expected and what we're going to get release-wise. But be aware. Open it at the counter. If you have a hobby shop that won't let you open stuff before you buy it, go find another hobby shop, because the hobby shop can just take it and send it back for vendor credit, so they don't care whether or not it's broken or not, and you'll just be very upfront about it. If this isn't broken, I'm buying it. If it is broken, well, you need to know about it, because, take it back. That's usually Revell's first line of defense is, we'll take it back where you bought it anyway. So I still see people buying them without checking them first, getting them home, and having this mutilated plastic blah. Yeah, check it out before you leave, is the key word there. The one reissue for this month is the 64 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt reissue, as we talked about. Straight reissue pretty much of the previous 64 Fairlane that came out in 2008. It has the new, steely wheels and poverty hubcap set that came with that 2008 reissue. It shows those 3 different sets of wheels. A couple of different, induction systems. Obviously, it has the teardrop hood back in it, and the Thunderbolt decals for the first time since the original kit came out. So if you're trying to build a Thunderbolt specifically, fresh decals, because really, chances are your 30-year-old decals are shot, no matter how well you kept them. And then the last thing from Revell this month, technically last month, but this month, is the U.S. distribution of the Porsche 934 RSR Jägermeister Group 4 car. So that car is finally out, and that will, guys, officially catch us all the way up. It took till July of 2017 with the 2016 fall releases from Revell of Germany. So at least that's done, and now we can start looking forward to the Porsche Panamera and the Porsche 108 Junior tractor. So, there's always stuff to look forward to. A couple of reissues, or not reissues, well, technically they're modified reissues, but a couple of kits that we talked about. We never really followed up with them in terms of when they were going to come out, because nobody seemed to know. They were put out in production, and then they seem to be very hard to get a hold of. But they are available here in the United States through M&S Hobbies, which is a guy out in Arizona. You guys go to West Coast shows. They were at the IPMS Nationals. May recognize the name. A reputable vendor. I've done some business with them in the past. And right now they actually have the cheapest priced to the U.S. because they're already here for these kits. And these are the new Bell Kits Volkswagen Polo rally cars, the 2015 and the 2016 season cars, the new body, new wheels, new decals, and all that sort of stuff. Decals printed by Cartograph, so you don't have the issues you had with the original Volkswagen Polo where the decals were facade, as it were. So you got the 2015 kit, you got night race parts included and photo etch parts included. These are going to be Monte Carlo rally winning cars, as it were. And then you have the 2016 car, which of course pretty much is the same as 2015 cars, a few little minor differences here and there, as well as obviously the livery package being different. So those kits are available. Spot Model also carries them. As of right now, none of the Japanese vendors are carrying them because they will be an Aoshima distributed kit, and Aoshima has not announced when they plan to distribute them. They, of course, have to get them from Belgium and all the rest of that nonsense. So, Spot Model in Spain, I think I just said that, already has them. M&S has them in stock, and they're starting to filter out onto eBay here and there from various hobby shops in Europe. So if you're interested, they're out there. You may have to dig for them a little bit, but they're out there. That takes us over to Tamiya real quick. They did 2 reissues in the month of August, and they are the 1/12th and 1/20th scale reissues of the Tyrrell P34 six-wheeler for the 1976 Japanese Grand Prix. These were listed as being 50th anniversary reissues for the Nuremberg Toy Fair. They're available everywhere. I think the 1/12th scale, or the 1/12th scale kit is about $118. The other one is a more reasonable, like $40. Studio 27 did a bajillion things, it seems like, for these kits. New decals, rain radials, all sorts of photo etch parts and upgrades. So if you're interested in these, both in 1/12th and 1/20th scale, there are, like I said, a whole bunch of stuff available for them in the aftermarket as well. Over at, Hasegawa, you have the reissue of the Toyota 2000 GT 1966 Fuji, 24 hours of Fuji, I guess I should say. This is the race winning car. There's also decals to make the second place car included. Pretty much your straight up 2000 GT street car with some roll caging. You have to bend your own roll caging. They give you some interesting material to do that with, but Hasegawa, I don't know if we would say cheaping out, but being fiscally responsible with their tooling dollars, did not create an actual racing interior for this kit, as the 1967 car really didn't have a racing interior beyond having the roll cage added. So they give you some roll caging material. You got to bend your own roll cage. The other Hasegawa kit for reissue for this month is the Tom's Fujitsu Corolla, the AE 101 Japanese Touring Championship car. So great to have this kit come back out, destroying a little kit value. We talked about this kit does have the modified suspension to lower it a little bit, make it a little more appropriate to race spec heights, as it were. And then the one modified tooling reissue for the month of July is the reissue with the 1990 backdate of the Suzuki Jimny. This gives you the JA11-1 version. New grille, new headlights, new front bumper, also new steering wheel. I believe there's a new steering column and a new shifter in here. A new dashboard and a new shifter and things like that in there to backdate it to 1990. Over at Fujimi, they had one kit coming out in the month of July, and it is the all-new Tool Porsche 911 RSR 2.1 Turbo Group 5 car with the Circuit Noanami, the Circuit Wolf Sakon Hayase tie-in. The kit does come with a Porsche logo for the rear spoiler that is the one that is used on the legitimate Martini sponsor Group 5 car. So if you're waiting for that, I would say hang out. I bet you a Martini liveried race version, because remember, there are 4 of them and they have different little specific decal changes. I don't think they'll redo 4 of them, but they probably do at least 1, maybe 2 of them. It would be my guess. I can't promise you anything, but be my guess. They will do some because they already have the spoiler decal made up for it. So we'll see. Somebody else will make delivery for it, I'm sure, as well. Studio 27 or Taboo or somebody. But right now, this kit is decal-wise what you see on the box art, these sort of number 3s and the X's for the headlights and the Porsche Martini spoiler decal. looks like a fairly decent kit. Proportion-wise, looks okay. You know, it's a curbside with some bottom engine detail. There's detail for the rear turbo and the exhaust system. You have the option to build the heat shield in place or not. So for the Porsche fan, it's maybe not a must-have, but it's certainly up there. You know, it could have been based on one of the Enthusiast series kits and had a full detail engine and all that stuff. But for what it is, I think it seems to be pretty decent. I haven't seen anybody complaining about it too hard. Mine not here yet. It's still in Japan. It's not new enough to get shipped. So we'll have to wait for personal evaluation of it. From what I've seen, it doesn't look too terribly bad. And that'll take us over to Aoshima as we plow through the very end of this. This will be the biggest chunk, so hang on. We're going to roll through these as fast as we can. You have the reissue of the Toyota Crown Royal GRS 180 Police version, and this is the Tokyo Metro car. You have the reissue of the same model Toyota Crown Royal, and this is the Kanagawa Prefecture car. So a little bit different with the light bars blue and red on the Tokyo one, all red on the Kanagawa one, but pretty much the same car. Only difference is the decals. We got a reissue, and this is I'm trying to think if this is actually a August. Nope, it's still a September one. So a reissue of the 280E Brougham 1978 Nissan Cedric Gloria. One body. All the rest of the differentiating parts are separate parts trees. You also get 3 sets of wheels with this kit. The factory stock aluminum ones that are actually on the chrome tree, as well as something that look kind of Impulse and kind of Volk meshy as well. So there's 3 sets of wheels in there. You can build it one or the other, not both. So know that going in. We got a reissue of the Celica Liftback 2000 GT. This is just a straight shelf stock reissue. Reissue of the Rays Volk Racing TE37 Gravels. Again, just a straight reissue of a restock. From August, your August wheels are in already, and they are the AW Seal Daytona 16-inch wheels. These do have separate center hubs. If you notice the picture of the van, there's no center hub, but the picture of the wheel on the box has a hub. So those hubs are separate, so your choice of how you display it. Reissue of the DAD Garson wheels for the Honda Odyssey. These are 20-inch VIP van wheels. Your reissue of the Traffic Star DTX, 20-inch wheels for a Toyota Celsior, according to the background there. And then you have your fabulous various MB5 Phase 3 wheels, which are on a Toyota Alphard van on the box art. So a bunch of VIP wheels. Technically, the Daytona wheels are considered VIP, but a 16-inch wheel. Probably get away with putting that onto a few different things. Why I got one set of them, because, like I said, I think it'd go onto a few different things. Your 1 August reissue from Hasegawa, and that is the Jaguar XJS HE TWR race car. This car is the 1984 season spec with the livery to do the 1984 24 Hours of Spa winning car. This car pretty much stomped up and down the European Touring Championship Series from 1982 through 1984, all over, everywhere it went. So that's why you're seeing the Studio 27 doing the decals for the 82 car and the 83 car as well. It won the 24 Hours of Spa and finished, I think, second as well. I think there were 2 team cars there. You can build either team car, but the one on the box, the number 1 car, is the car that won. Back over to Aoshima, we got the modified reissue of the 2008 Subaru Sambar fire engine. This has the new front fascia and a few other little bits and pieces to make it specific to the Subaru Ozami transmission and engine factory in Japan. So as opposed to sort of the mythological one that they reissued, that they did the 2014 one, this is a very specific, real piece of fire apparatus. Trying to think what. There's something here that I'm not seeing. Oh, well, I'll find it as we go along here. We got those Grand Champ kits. These are going to be kits, there's 6 or 12 of these altogether, so this will be 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And they are the Ken and Mary GTR and the Skyline 4-door early versions, as well as the Toyota Chaser GX41, and the Nissan Laurel. So if you're interested in those are all back reissued again. I guess one other, I noticed here as I'm down in some other files, another Hasegawa kit that we haven't talked about that got reissued is the Volkswagen Type 2 delivery van, and that is for the Egg Girls of Summer paint job. So got some anime egg girls in some bikinis and whatnot. So another divorce, leading divorce model there. Why not? Why not? Over on the model car side of things, we got 2 of the modified Skylines that came in, and they are the 1977 Nissan Skyline 2000 GTES. Got the new aluminum wheels, or the new 14-inch wheels and tires, and the new front and rear fascias to update it to 1977. And then you have the 1976 Skyline 2000 GTX ES. These ES things, I mean, you can build it either as an E or an S, depending on what decal sets you use. And again, same sort of thing here as the new factory stock 14-inch wheels and tires, as well as the modified front and rear fascias. Over on the Tune model car, the kits that are out for that this month are the Top Secret Nissan Fairlady Z, the fabulous Toyota Estima, and the K-Brake Crown Majesta UZ141, and the Mines Nissan Skyline R34, one of the best Mines kits and best R34 kits, personally speaking, that there are. Kit-wise, it's not the best kit because Aoshima's chassis kind of suck on ice, but I think it's one of the best looking aftermarket R34s that was done. It's not quite as quite body kit-ish as some of the other ones out there. I like the clean lines, and I'm always a fan of BBS wheels. So those 4 are all just straight reissues of the existing kits. Nothing really new there. I'm trying to think. Let's see. What else? We scroll. Make sure we don't miss anything as we scroll through the big list of things that we had to talk about here. Blah, 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 blah. Yada, yada, yada. Blah, 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 blah. I think we're about done. Yes, we are. So, guys, that is our ketchup and our mustard. Possibly our relish. You are now up to date all the way up through the second week of August. From the second week of July, there's a month's worth of content in there. And like I said, hopefully we'll get it back to a regular schedule. I know nobody likes the dining room videos, but I painted a couple of walls in the basement, so it smells too much like paint to be doing the video down there today. So just deal. And hopefully we'll be back downstairs on a more regular basis in the future. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with the whole video, and we'll see you guys on the other side.